Did
Yeah,
you ever have toy guns?
a long time ago. I'm sure I probably played that whole thing with the toy guns with my brothers.
Yeah, I remember I had the holster with the double.
I think I've got an old picture of one like that too, with the old Western costume. So
I had the western tie on
yeah,
and
yeah.
see a vest, black cowboy hat. I wonder where that picture is. Hopefully nobody throws it anywhere public.
Yeah, hopefully nobody puts it on Facebook.
Yeah, somebody already did that to me. They picked a picture out of an annual. I was in a play. I was Pappy Yoakum and Little Abner in high school.
Mm-hmm.
They put that on Facebook.
It draws a lot of attention, not necessarily
Man,
positive
oh
attention.
man, I can't believe I had all that hair.
That's a good thing.
It's hard to believe. Todd, how's your summer been going?
It's actually been a very good summer. It's been very busy. Of course, a different type of busy. We don't have kids, and the staff have all gone home for the summer and rejuvenating themselves, training and developing curriculum and going to school and all kinds of things to get ready for this fall.
Which is going to be here before we know it, although Labor Day is late this year.
It is a little late. We still start the Tuesday after Labor Day. A couple schools in the state have received, actually you don't need to receive permission. They said that if schools want to, they can start after September 1st, which is that first Monday before Labor Day. We happen to still traditionally start after Labor Day, and so that's what we're going to do.
This was just a board decision?
Yeah. It's just a board decision that they have to do. They approve it when they approve the calendars.
Want to be consistent and keep it after Labor Day.
It is, and if we don't have any real reason right now to start before Labor Day, so there's a lot of fun things going on prior to that. You've got the state fair and you've got a lot of things that are going on ahead of time, and so we're really not being pressed to move that date behind the Labor Day weekend.
However, if you did start the week before Labor Day, couldn't you quit school a week earlier?
We could, and that is the advantage. Some people say that those kids, by the time they hit the end of May, they start getting that summer slide started. If you quit maybe, or if you stop school or ended school maybe a week before the end of May, I think you'd see some better results. But we don't have that choice right now in our state because the state says we can't start before Labor Day other than this year.
Oh, this is an exceptional year because of the late Labor Day holiday.
That's correct.
I see. I was not aware of that. Well, we got a lot to talk about this morning. I know I saw where U.S. News and World Report gave you guys a national bronze medal. Both the Faribault Junior and Senior High School got bronze medals. One of 175 schools in the state to receive bronze medals. Let's see, a gold medal went to a charter school in St. Paul. 5 silver medals were awarded all to metro schools. I guess nobody in outstate Minnesota can educate, according to U.S. News and World Report.
Yeah, we've been on that report before, and it's a nice report for us to see that some of the things that we have been implementing over the last few years have actually done well. We have part of that whole piece is the achievement gap, and not just measuring flat test scores like the MCAs do, but we've been doing a very nice job. We have 3 new programs that we're going to be implementing. They're not really new programs, they're just programs that we're officially starting because we've been doing a lot of training this past year, particularly with our flight plan, our Falcon Learning Technology Everywhere plan. And so we're excited about the new year, and our teachers are ready to go. Well, maybe not yet, but they're going to be ready to go. And certainly the students will be ready by next fall, too.
Does the summer fly as fast for you as it does for everybody else?
It does. I can't believe the 4th of July has already passed us. And even in June, 4th of July, the knee-high corn was already over everybody's head. But it does go by really, really quickly.
Yeah, it sure does. The kids will be back in school before you know it. Some of the other things we wanted to touch on today, I know you recently did a building purchase.
Yeah, we purchased the old Woodcraft building, and that kind of fell right in our lap. That was a good thing. We can talk about that here in a little bit, but we're very happy to get that. That's going to save us a little transportation costs with our maintenance crew, and in the long term, it'll be a good place for us to have storage and all that other stuff.
And I'm going to get a few more details about the flight program, too, and how that's going.
You bet. I will go ahead and do that.
So we'll talk about that in our next segment, but right now we're going to get that opening mark. Who's going to be our guest. Doesn't have a driver's license yet. Emma Culbertson is from Pine Island, obviously, and she'll be a junior this year in Pine Island High School. And Todd, she studied abroad for the 5 months, January through, well, she just got home this past Sunday.
Isn't that funny? That's amazing how many kids are doing that now. High school kids are doing that.
Turned 16 while she was in Italy.
That's pretty amazing.
And she's pretty excited to share her story, I think. I was talking to her mom again this morning, and she's looking forward to being on the program, and I think it should be a real fun topic, and as luck would have it, I was over there in April for a couple of weeks, so at least I can talk about some of the same sites that we have seen.
Yeah, I'll be anxious to listen to her. That'll be fun to hear.
Emma Culbertson, again, she'll be a junior this fall at Pine Island Schools, which brings up, and I know you probably don't know the number off the top of your head, do many Faribault kids study abroad in high school?
We don't have necessarily study abroad, but we have kids that go over to Europe, and they will take like our Spanish, actually they go to South America. They went to Costa Rica this last time around, but we have various kids, or various groups that take kids over to Europe or South America to do, I don't know how much studying it is. It's more of an experience that they have, and you see that more and more now with kids, and it's a great experience for those kids. I see a lot more of it in college. Almost all colleges are asking kids to get some sort of abroad study before they graduate and get some of that experience.
And it makes sense. We're a global society. We need to...
We are, and even transporting, it is expensive, I guess, in some sense, but also the experience that you get from it is worth some of that investment.
But she was in the AFS. I don't know if you're familiar with the AFS
I am.
program.
Yep, AFS program. It's very similar to Rotary, our exchange program that we have with students. I'm a Rotarian, proud to say I'm a Rotarian, and we have some great programs where we have inbound and outbound kids. We have 2 inbound students coming this year, and we're looking forward to their arrival.
I'm going to be very curious to find out if Emma wishes she would have signed up for a whole year, because she said she signed up for this period of time because she didn't know if she'd like it or not.
Right, yeah, usually the AFS programs are for a whole year, so it'll be interesting to see how her experience and how that all worked out with her.
She was there for 5 months. I actually went to school there, lived with a family there. I mean, it was really totally immersed in the society.
Right, and the kids that are from Faribault that go outbound to different countries share the same experiences. They come and they present back to our Rotary Club, and they share the experiences that they've gone through as a result of staying with the families overseas.
How cool. Fantastic. We've had a number of foreign exchange students come here, I know. We
do, and like I said before, we have 2 coming this year through our Rotary program, and usually AFS will send a couple of kids too. And if you go to our graduation, Lyle Turtle, our principal, does a great job of recognizing those kids. We had 3 this year that were inbound students that came from different countries here. And we didn't have any outbound kids last year, but I think we've got a couple that could be going this year.
Do they get some sort of a recognition diploma? Not obviously a real diploma.
Yeah, they do get a recognition diploma, a certificate that we give them to bring back home.
One of my best friends in high school. Unfortunately, we didn't stay connected very long. My fault. I wasn't really big into letter writing. Well, neither was he, as far as that goes. This is long before the days of Facebook and Twitter and all the stuff we have now. Was from Sweden.
Oh, yes.
He was a student from Sweden.
Yep, and when I grew up, I had a foreign exchange student from Mexico that stayed with. I don't stay in touch with him anymore. We also had a foreign exchange student, this is through Rotary when I was growing up, from Brazil, stay with us. And then when we lived in Cannon Falls, or when I was in Cannon Falls, we had an AFS student from Iceland stay with us, and then we, as a Rotary exchange student, we also had a student stay with us from South Africa that we stayed really close touch with.
I think we realize from, at least I have, from what international travels I've done, that the people are the same everywhere. They have the same desires in life. They may have a different culture and a different way of doing things, but that doesn't mean they're different in terms of being a person.
No, I agree. And you could also make the same argument for schools. I've been to all different kinds of schools, and kids are kids regardless of where you go. It's just so fun to see the different types of groups, but when you get down to it, they're very, very similar in all respect.
Now this bronze U.S. News and World Report medal at the 2015, and you said you've been on it before. What do they use to determine that?
I haven't looked that closely at the criteria. In fact, when you just said that, I didn't realize that we were on it this past year.
Sure.
So I'll go back and check and see what that criteria is. But I know they used to use the achievement gap, the difference between, for instance, the kids who are in free and reduced or poverty versus the kids who are not in the free and reduced or the poverty area.
Well, one of their little plugs on the synopsis of each school, I guess Faribault is highlighted for a student-to-teacher ratio.
Yep, that's right. That's another piece. I know the ACTs are part of that too, so we've traditionally done pretty well on the ACTs. So there's a lot of different criteria that that makes that formula happen, but I'm not sure exactly what those pieces are.
And I found it interesting that included, I just got a chance to quickly review it before the program, but one of the areas that they cite in there is the percentage of minority students in your school. I didn't realize 30% is what it said for Faribault High School.
Yeah, that's correct, and in fact we're almost up to 50% in kindergarten, so which is, presents challenges, but it also presents some opportunities for our kids and our staff.
Oh, for sure. No question about that. In fact, is enrollment up?
Enrollment is up. Last year we actually were up about 25, 30 kids. We were projecting actually a decline last year of about 40 kids, so our net budget actually increased about 80 students. So that was a nice influx of revenue for us because of that. But it also presents some challenges too. Like we were talking before, our classes are getting a little bit tight in the elementary schools with the all-day, everyday kindergarten, and we've had that implemented for quite a number of years. And some of the other things that have happened in the past, for some of the good things that have happened within our elementaries in the past, have caused us to really take a look at our facilities and see what we can do to actually enhance those or actually expand those. Right now we probably could use about 4 new classrooms in each of the elementary schools. We would also like to look at maybe the entryways, especially at Lincoln and at Jefferson, to make it safer and a little bit more welcoming for parents as they come into some of those places. So we're going to be looking at that. We have an active facility committee that's going to be starting up here in the fall, and we'll look at some of those long-term issues.
Are you limited in what you can do? I mean, the state requires a certain acreage, I know.
We are, and we go through a whole process. If we do something like that, it would be a bond issue, and I know that's sometimes not a great thing to say, but at the same time, if you look at it and if the reality is that we're out of space, we're out of space. There's not really much you can do about it. But we'll look at that and check to see what that's going to entail and what sort of costs are associated with it and how we decide to move forward.
And speaking of that, we touched on this before the break. You purchased, not you, but the school district purchased a building recently, and just curious as to what the utilization will be there, because there's talk about, building a space for the district offices.
Yep, and the Adult Basic Education
Right.
Center, you bet. Yeah, it's kind of a long process that we went through. It took some financing and some great ideas and a lot of collaboration with the school board and with the finance committee and the facility committee, and of course our internal folks worked on it very hard. But the parameters that we were given at the very beginning with the school board was that we'll go ahead and move forward with it if you can figure out a way to either keep taxes neutral or reduce them, and then also get rid of the lease levy, which is actually paying rent. And the idea is if you buy something, you no longer have to pay rent after a certain number of years. So we tried to do what we did. We did a long-term projection of how long it would take for that mortgage payment to pay off the rent. And over 17 years, after 17 years, that'll be a net zero. And then after the 17th year, taxpayers will save over $250,000 a year in taxes. So long term it was a good thing, because now we've bought something basically, and we no longer will have to pay rent after, in the district office case, 10 years, and in the Adult Basic Ed Center it's going to be 15 years. That's how long the mortgage is. But it's kind of a complicated formula that went through, but it really worked out very well. And also as a result of the cost, we tried to keep the cost around $5 million for both buildings. Because a lease, when you take that lease off of it, there has to be a net effect of tax impact, because that lease is total tax. And so when we get rid of leases, taxes go down $250,000. And then when we put this program on for the financing, taxes went up $249,000. So the net decrease was about whatever that dollar amount is. I'm not sure what it is, but the impact was a negative $1 per every $100,000 of value for a home. So the bottom line is, without getting into too much more detail, is with our financing and with these building projects, including the maintenance building, we're able to decrease taxes about $1 a year. Not a lot, but we decreased it. And we were able to stay within the parameters of what the board felt comfortable with, of purchasing rather than renting.
Now, the question in my mind is, you're purchasing a building that had been on the tax rolls.
Yep.
It's now not on the tax rolls, and why not add where you're going to add your adult basic and district office?
Yeah, right, and that's true, and that's part of the city's piece, that they take those things off, and then of course the school is an exempt tax entity for that piece. The finances for us, that didn't play into our financial plans. We have the purchase of the maintenance building. When we looked at it, we wanted to figure out a way where we can, all the money that goes to the schools are taxpayer monies. No matter how you look at it, everything flows through a tax. And public schools, that's how they're funded, are through taxes. And so we're trying to figure out a way that we can justify purchasing this building and not building a brand new building. And that was in the original plans when we were doing those other two pieces, the district office and the adult basic ed. The actual construction of a maintenance building was part of that plan.
Oh, it was?
It was.
How many square feet is that?
That's a good question. I should have brought that with me.
No, I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's oh gosh, that's going to be a tough one, Gordy. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to do a little bit of math for
that's
it.
Quite all right.
It's a larger area. It's a big enough area for us. But
what you're telling me, bottom line is, purchasing a new building is cheaper than adding to what you're already adding.
It is. We got it for about $45 a square foot, and the new construction was about $110 per square foot. So whatever the square footage is, when you multiply those things out, it's obviously a savings to the taxpayers. Now, there was more square footage in this larger building, which is good for us, because we have currently kept all of our maintenance equipment outside, and that takes some wear and tear on that. So now we'll be able to put that equipment inside, which is good. And also Kevin Hildebrand will be moving out to that area for his office.
So will that be with you guys? He'll be out of the maintenance facility?
Yeah, he'll be out in the maintenance facility, and we'll be at the DO, which will be eventually attached to the middle school. So we'll be close. And the proximity is really good, too. If you look at a map of all of our schools, it's actually one big circle. Right now on the north end, where our district office is and where Kevin is outside of the circle. It's north of that piece. This will fit right into that circle. He's only going to be, all the maintenance equipment and staff will be maybe 5-10 minutes away from Jefferson, and the same thing for the middle school. They're going to be in a great spot. So it's going to be, it really kind of fell in our lap, and it fits within the financial means with what we talked about too, and it's more space for us, and it actually worked out very, very well.
Todd Sesker is the superintendent of the Faribault Public Schools. You've got some information with you.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about the 3 programs that we'll be implementing this next year.
The flight program you touched on.
Yep, the flight program. We also have a newcomer program that we've been working on for about probably 2 or 3 years. We hired Sam Oak. I don't know if you remember that last year, but he's our EL coordinator, and one of his tasks was to come up with an alternative for the kids that come to our country that are brand new, that might be 14, 15 years old, that don't speak English, and they have not had any academic help. And right now our current practice has been to put them in middle school or 9th grade. And it's just like a fish out of water. You just feel so bad for them because they don't understand what's going on, and of course the academics are not there. So that's the other program. And then the third program is this ADSYS program that we received a grant from the state of Minnesota. It actually stands for Alternative Delivery of Specialized Services, and it works with the Special Education Department and the Regular Education Department, and we're able to hire 6 new teachers with this grant and put them in the K-3 grades and improve our reading scores, or hopefully improve our reading scores by giving them one-to-one attention to be more proficient in their reading skills, and that should have a major impact on our young kids, especially those kids that are struggling readers. So we're really looking forward to those 3 programs. So that's it. It's a flight plan, it's our newcomer plan, and it's our ADSYS plan coming this fall.
So is the flight plan fully implemented this fall, or is this the test?
Nope, last year was kind of the test year. That was the 1-year planning, and great turnout with our staff development programs with our staff. Our teachers are ready to go. It's interesting, the flight plan was really pushed by the kids. The kids want the technology. The majority of the kids want the technology, and they want to have that implemented in there. So that flight plan will be fully implemented this fall.
And what did you choose again? iPads?
Yep, iPads. And the iPads we'll have each student grades 6 through 12 will receive an iPad, a one-to-one device. In the elementary grades, we wanted to hold off a little bit, so we're going to give them a cart of iPads within their classrooms that they won't be able to take home. We'll keep those at school in K-5. So it's going to be a great program. It's going to be a learning experience for us, But there are so many schools out there that are already doing this that we will be able to figure out what's going on. You know, the biggest question I get is insurance and what do you do with the kids that break the iPads and things like that. We've got that all resolved, and we are very confident that we're going to be moving forward. We're not going to worry about that.
Were these donated?
Nope. This is part of the levy, and we allocated a portion of the levy for technology. So again, that fits right within those parameters. So we're not spending more money than we told the taxpayers we'd spend. We're right on budget with that levy dollar amount to purchase these one-to-one devices, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm a 6th grader. I get an iPad. Do I keep that iPad in 7th and then 8th grade? I mean, technology is moving so fast. You'll have to change it in a couple of years anyway, right?
It is, and that's the reason why we didn't purchase them. We're doing it's a lease for these iPads, and after 3 years, there will be a value for those. We'll have the kids turn them in at the end of the year because we want to make sure that we get a correct inventory. So we'll keep pretty close track of those devices. So at the end of the 3 years, depending on what's out there new, we'll have some value in the iPad still. We can use that value to trade in and then renew a lease or do whatever we need to after 3 years.
So the students do keep them?
They do. Well, they keep them for each year, and I'm not sure how. I'll have to ask that's a great question. I'll have to ask my technology director, Maria Hansen, who's been terrific at this whole thing. And Colleen Carter-Noonan, my curriculum director, has been awesome with this whole process too. Those two have really led the charge along with the committee to do this and implement it.
Didn't Chris Dibble do something with this?
Yep, Chris Dibble and Corey Little are our two integration technologists, and they are an integral part of that whole process because they're the connectors from the classroom teachers and the technology.
I find it interesting that the band guy decides to become the tech guy.
Yeah, and he's really good. Yeah, and Corey, our elementary teacher, he came out of the classroom and he's gone both of them have really done a great job of implementing this and helping teachers learn how to use the iPads and how to take curriculum that's online and give it to their students in return.
Does this save anything in terms of books?
It will in the future. Right now it has not. The thing that we're seeing savings on is that we're not replacing some of the labs, so we're not buying the big computers right now. There's no need to. The kids have the devices, so the idea is that the labs will eventually go away. That also will free up some space for us, so that's a good thing, and we need that. But we've also heard that the MCA tests are supposed to be on the iPad, although after this past year with Pearson and all the troubles that they had with the MCAs, I'm not going to really count on that.
Yeah.
In fact, I wouldn't mind seeing the MCAs go away. But
I know you're not a big testing guy.
I am not a big testing guy. I do like the testing as a show of growth. So, for example, we use the NWEA test. That's a pretty popular test where we test the kids in the fall, we test the kids in the spring. Some of the kids get tested in the middle of the year just to see where we are in making progress. And if you look at those tests alone, we are making some really good gains in our district. Unfortunately, we still are not making the gains we need to for the MCAs, but there's very little correlation between those scores and the MCAs.
I thought there was some talk about it at the state legislature about backing off on some of this mandatory testing.
They did, sort of, and I emphasize sort of because MCAs can't be part of that backing off. So we have to keep the MCA. Those are the Minnesota Comprehensive Assessments. Those are the state tests that we are required to take. They have backed off. I will take a little bit of that back. They have backed off on some of the testing with the MCAs, but we still have to do the 8th grade test and some of the others beforehand, and then also the high school tests are still in there. What they want us to back off on are the other tests, like the ACTs, the Explorer test, the NWEA test, and we have a certain percentage that we have to stay within those parameters for those tests. So I hope the next time around that they'll include the MCAs on that percentage, and then if we have to, we have a choice of reducing the MCAs or not. But right now we don't have that choice.
You didn't take a look at this U.S. News and World Report item.
I have not yet. No.
I just got a text from someone who is pretty excited to hear about the fact that we're a bronze school, 175, and I didn't have a chance to look. Do you know off the top of your head how many schools are there in Minnesota?
343 school districts in Minnesota, public schools.
So to be one of 175 is pretty good.
It's really good, yeah. And like I said, a couple years ago we had that same status. But
I did not see Owatonna High School on this list.
All right, I'm not going to go there, but
I did not see them on there. I didn't see Rochester Mayo on the list. Century and Marshall. but then I just quickly looked over the list. So if I overlooked it,
Yep.
I'm sorry, folks. But I did not, and I went through the whole alphabet. So.
Yep, I'll take a look at it again. But again, we're pretty proud of what we've been doing over the last few years, and we've really. I mean, I'm pretty biased, of course, because I'm a Falcon. I'm green all the way through, and really enjoy what we're doing and working with the staff that really have a mission. And the mission that we have is to make sure that all kids succeed. And it's as simple as that. And we certainly have a mission statement that ties a little bit more depth into that whole piece. But we have a very, very committed staff, and very proud of that.
New school year will be here before you know it. Football starts a little after August gets underway.
Yeah, it's always fun when the athletics get rolling in the first part of the year, and it's fun to see the kids coming back, and then of course the first day of school when those kids come in, and you get those new kindergartners that, you know, they've got that whole, some 3/4 of them I think cry when mom and dad leave them, and so you have the whole emotional piece, and it's just a lot of fun at the beginning of the year.
The Falcons open up against a Mayo team that they beat in the section final a year ago. You might recall that thrilling game over at Bruce Smith Field.
Yeah, I listened to that on radio. I didn't get to see that, but that was
what a game!
Exciting.
That was a very good football game. And then of course they went to the state tournament in the biggest school, well, the second biggest schools class.
Yeah, and I saw a nice article in the Faribault Daily News about the weight room facilities, the fitness area that we've had, and it's true. It's going to help improve our athletic programs, but I think everyone also needs to know that it's also helping our physical education program within our curriculum at school.
Yeah, all students
get to use
that.
it. Yep.
That's fantastic, because we all need to try and stay fit.
Yeah, we all do.
Oh my, he's laughing looking at my belly there. All right, that concludes today's edition of AM Minnesota. Again, tomorrow I'm on the road in Pine Island at the Pins and Pool in Pine Island. I certainly want to thank Jerry and all the folks at the Pins for hosting the show tomorrow, because as I mentioned earlier, Emma does not have her driver's license, so I didn't want to make them drive all the way over here. So it's nice that they're able to, we're going to sit down and host the show at the Pins, and who knows, maybe I'll even have a burger after the show, which I don't get every day of the week. Thanks, Todd. Appreciate you coming in.
Thanks, Corey. I really appreciate you having me.
Getting us updated. That concludes today's edition of AM Minnesota on KDHL-AM in Faribault, Minnesota. You guys have a terrific day.